Planning dates doesn't need to be stressful. If it is causing stress, it's less likely that you need date ideas and more likely that you need a framework that allows you more clarity, more ownership, and a deeper understanding of what actually builds connection, because competence leads to confidence. And so if you have those pieces in place, you're going to be more likely to shift out of the mindset of what's going to impress her and start leading with what experience do I want to create that we can both feel alive within. Today, we're going to be talking about the mindset shifts that you need to be making to not only plan incredible dates where you both enjoy yourselves, but also that allow you to feel natural, confident, and more authentic in your dating style. If you're new to my work, my name's Courtney Shand. I'm a relationship coach. I love helping men get into their body and feel really confident and calm and clear in what they're doing when they're approaching dating. This is just one piece of it, and I'm excited to help you shift it. Before we get into any of the planning, as you know with all of my work, we have to come at it from the right mental space. If we're not thinking about it from a more empowered perspective, it doesn't really matter what action you take. And as with all of my work, I want to start by putting you in the right headspace, because I have found that, especially for my masculine clients, when you are thinking about things from a really empowered perspective, you naturally take the right actions in that direction. Usually where things are getting a little bit wonky is because you're thinking about it from the lens of your previous experiences instead of the experience you want to create. So let's go ahead and shift that together and see how this flows a little bit differently than maybe how you normally plan dates. The first thing I would want for you to shift into mentally is to ask yourself, what are you wanting for her to feel or experience? This is going to help you create not only from a place of intentionality, which is automatically more attractive to an emotionally mature woman, but it's also going to shift you out of approval seeking and into a leadership orientation. So instead of asking, would she like this? Ask yourself, what kind of energy am I wanting to share with her? Or what do I want her to feel when the date is over? And some really desirable emotional experiences for most women are to feel safe, to feel intrigued, to feel playful, seen, energized, feminine, expressive. All of those things are usually feelings that most women enjoy feeling, so they're a safe place to aim for. All right, so now that we're approaching this a little bit more intentionally of how we want to help her feel as the masculine partner, you're creating the container, the space for her to feel those type of feelings. You can't manipulate someone into feeling those things, but you as the masculine partner can provide a space that allows those feelings to come forward. And when you're able to evoke those feelings within a woman, that's what is naturally going to build that chemistry and connection that we talk about in the polarity space a lot. So now let's get into more practical stuff. I want you to choose an environment that matches the vibe that you're going for. And this seems really simple because it is. Don't overthink this. You are co-creating. Let me be the one that tells you, from a woman's perspective, she's probably far less concerned with your creativity and more tuned into what it feels like to be around you as you're leading this experience. So I want to give you permission to skip the urge to really knock it out of the park with the creativity and instead choose something that you can enjoy as well and that you can feel confident stepping into more of that leadership energy within. So for example, if you're wanting to create a cozy vibe where you can really get to know her, maybe you choose a venue like a vibey wine bar or a jazz club or a botanical garden, somewhere that's a little bit more low-key and mellow where you can really create the ambiance of we're going to have an intentional conversation. I really am interested in getting to know you. Versus if you're wanting something a little bit more light and playful, maybe you choose something that's more energetic, like a game of mini golf or paddleboarding even. Something that requires a little bit more of that exertion type energy. It can sometimes be helpful for both of you to get out of your head and let those nerves go because you're actively doing something with all of that energy that's otherwise just swirling in your body. Or if you're wanting to create something that's maybe a mixture of both, plan a 2-part date. Maybe you take the walking path to a vibey bar, or maybe you take the longer way to the art area in your town. Something that's going to require a little bit of movement as well as a space where you can be more intentional with your conversation. Because at the end of the day, The confidence that is communicated comes from ownership, your ability to make the decision and follow through with it, as opposed to complexity. So if there's a million different pieces that you're having to sort through, you're probably going to be spending more of your time in your head, and she's going to feel that as he's not necessarily present with me, and therefore she's not going to experience that level of confidence that can come from, hey, this is the place that we're going to, this is the vibe that we're going for, and just owning that. Which leads me into my second point. Offer a clear masculine invitation. You're not asking for permission, you're creating a container. You've put forth the effort to create an experience that you think she would enjoy stepping into with you, which really shows both leadership and respect. I always tell my one-on-one clients, decide and offer. Decide and offer. That is the formula for the masculine. And this can sound like, I'd love to take you to this new wine bar. That keeps coming to mind for some reason. And if we were going to put this into practice, it could sound like, I found this really great spot. It seems like totally our vibe. I'll go ahead and make the reservation. Does Thursday work for you? Or you could say something like, I'd love to take you to this new coffee shop, this new wine bar, this new botanical garden, whatever it is, this weekend. It's got a pretty relaxed vibe. I think that you would enjoy yourself there. You want to go? Or you can always ask, how does that feel? Because the masculine is deciding and offering, your follow-up is always going to be, how does that feel? You want to check in with her because this is a collaborative effort. Leadership doesn't necessarily mean that you're the only one making decisions. It really is a co-creative experience. So you may be the one creating the direction, but you're also listening to her response in order to decide what you want to do next. The third piece is to set the emotional tone. When in doubt, curiosity is always going to outperform any type of script that you have. So as you are engaging in the conversation, ask yourself, what might she like to talk about? Or what's something that I would like to share about myself? One thing that I notice oftentimes, especially when nerves are elevated, is that there's a tendency for one side of this equation to be stronger than the other. And I would challenge you this week, when you're in conversations, notice which one it is for you. I'm going to give you some free homework here, because typically it's either going to be that when you get nervous, you have a lot of things that you would feel excited to share, and you're really wanting to keep that space closed so that you don't have to sit in the awkward silence. Or you're a really good listener and you're really good at asking those follow-up questions, or giving a fuck, as I like to say on my podcast, FUQ. This is actually really important because it's difficult for you to even flirt when this equation is out of balance. Flirting is really about playing with that space that's between you and the other person, even in subtle ways. So as she's talking, if she's saying something where she's really passionate about it, that glance of, you're so cute, or, oh my gosh, I love this right now, can go a long way in flirting, way further than any type of script that I could give you. So being able to stay present with what's actually happening is what's going to translate as flirting. And if you need some help with flirting, I've got several videos. You can go back and watch those on how to do that step by step and some examples of what that can look like. But if you do find yourself getting nervous, use it as an opportunity to shift back into curiosity. Move the focus from, does she like me? Am I doing this right? Is she having fun? To, how are we experiencing each other right now? What's happening in the present moment right now? What do I naturally feel curious about her? This is a brand new human being. You've probably spent very little time with her, if at all. So you have a wide open space to work within when it comes to curiosity. You don't know anything about her. So if you were to imagine some curiosity coming online, what would you want to know about her? Because true confidence translates when you are okay being in the silence. A lot of people resist the silence, but I want to assure you that on an energetic level, that's actually where the chemistry starts to build. So allow there to be some space. Take a breath. If you need more support with that, I have some deeper exercises in Rooted that can help you with calming down the nervous system. But just take a breath and let yourself shift back into curiosity about what you're observing about her and about the experience that you're both collaborating on together. And the last piece is to end with clarity and momentum. And this is always a controversial topic for some reason, but as a woman, I'm just going to put it out there that if you felt a good energy, if you felt the momentum, there was something really vibing between the two of you, just call it out. Name it. That reflection is going to do a lot for her nervous system. And if you want to see her again, now is the time for you to capitalize on all of this energy and momentum that you just spent the last however long building up to. And you could say something like, I really liked being around you tonight. I'd love to do it again soon. I'll think of something really good. Doesn't mean that you have to lock in all the details. You can follow up with that in a couple days. But when you are giving her the clarity of your experience of her, for the feminine, it feels very stabilizing. And when we're wanting to create polarity, that can go a long way. It allows her to soften into the experience and start to trust your lead. And when we're talking about polarity, this is what you're wanting to create, is the dynamic where you are in the leadership energy and she is allowed to and able to soften in your presence and be more open, more playful, more curious in return. That is the type of dynamic that you're wanting to create. And when you start stepping into this leadership style of energy when you're planning dates, you will be more likely to experience that as a result of the date that you just planned, as opposed to when you go into it with the idea of doing whatever it is that she would find fun. You're outsourcing all of that leadership energy to her. And instead, I want to encourage you to step into more of it and see how much more of that leadership energy you can embody and what happens to the women around you as you step into more of that energy. If you want some more support on this, this is what I do with my one-on-one clients. We are going through the Rebrand right now. That's something that I'm starting to open up spaces for. And I'm really excited to create this 180 experience where you step into the most confident, secure, clear version of yourself who's not only leading the dates, but also is able to create this depth of emotion and polarity in the relationship that follows. I'm super excited about this content. And if that's something that's speaking to you, feel free to reach out. I would love to have a conversation with you about it. I'll be sharing more about it over the next couple weeks, but the men who are already inside are getting really great results and loving the energetic shift that they are seeing within themselves. If that's not your jam, you're just wanting something more self-study on your own time, I would definitely encourage you to check out Rooted. We go deep into nervous system awareness, how the feminine operates, so that you can not only feel more in charge of your body and how you're showing up to the date, but also have a deeper understanding and therefore feel more confident engaging naturally with women in your life. This type of content is the missing piece. If dating has been really challenging for you, these concepts would be ones that I would definitely encourage you to check out. And if you're just wanting a quick tune-up, I would encourage you to check out the dating codes. It's like going in and having this mindset shift, elevating you to a different perspective so that you naturally take the most authentic action from there. We talk about specific situations like being nervous in conversation, all the way to how to handle conflict. So it's a little bit more situation specific, but I've gotten really great feedback on those audio trainings too. As always, I hope this was helpful. I would love to hear from you if this is something that you decide to apply. If you want the homework for this week, feel free to check the link below. I will see you guys next week.